Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time watching. I just wanted to do another work with me video where I show you a new design that I've been working on. We will be going over this one here, this black swan inspired look. There's a creator on Instagram that I follow. The channel name is Dreamy Little Nails, and she does these amazing 3D nail art sets, and I recently saw her using a swan nail art mold, and I really wanted to give it a try. I am a fan of black though, so I wanted to do kind of a darker take on the swan coquette theme that's trending right now. So I first go in with my Born Pretty builder gel. This is, I believe, color 19. I'm not entirely sure. I will have it linked below. This is a product that was sent to me as part of PR, but I probably would have purchased it regardless. I was a big fan of Born Pretty before they started sending me some things, and I was really excited to see them come out with a builder gel, especially one that is more sheer and can be used to add strength to my press-on set. And this black is just a really perfect sheer black, a jelly black. It's not streaky at all, as you can see, because it's a builder gel. It's quite thick. So it goes on and it self-levels and gives you really nice even color payoff. So I'm starting with at least one coat on each nail. The middle finger I'm going to leave with one coat. There will be a reason for that. And then on the pointer and the pinky finger, I'm only going to paint half of the nail with the second coat because my plan is to do like a white to black ombre on those fingers. If you like my work so far and would like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I love the little family that we've all created here. So now that I have my color down, I'm going to go in with the white on that pinky and pointer finger while the black is still wet. That way I can blend them together. I'm using the new doughy nudie white polish that I recently got in a haul from Sweetie Nail Supply. That video is actually up on my channel if you want to check it out previously. I go through and I swatch a bunch of different Korean products from Sweetie Nail Supply. They are, I believe, located in Canada, but you can purchase products to be sent to US as well. And so they import a lot of the Korean and Japanese gels. I find that these gels are really easy to work with, especially if you're trying to get like an ombre look, because they do have a bit of sheerness to them that you can build up the layers with. And also they just self-level so well, and they're not streaky at all. So you can get a really nice blend. Then I'm going in with this Vanillisa mud gel, which I have found is a really good cheap solution if you're just getting into nail art in terms of painting designs on your nails and you need an opaque color. These were only a couple dollars for a pot. I believe I got them on Amazon actually. I know you can get them from AliExpress, but I do think they have them on Amazon too. I actually got the whole 60 color collection. As a beginner nail artist, these were really good for me just to have a lot of different color selections. I am looking into getting some different paints now that I am I feel like more advanced with my nail art, but especially for a beginner, if you're interested, I will definitely link these below too. So I am painting on a set of wings. For this technique, you definitely need a jelly color. I've seen this technique going around on Instagram and on other social medias, but it's all about taking a jelly color, putting down a layer, painting over some sort of design in white. You can do wings like I'm doing here. I've seen people do flowers, leaves, all sorts of different things, but you paint down that design in an opaque color. It doesn't have to be white, but white will stick out the most. And then you go over that design with layers of the jelly color so that you get a nice gradient effect. So here I'm starting with 4 feathers, just fading them out towards the side of the nail. I plan to cover up kind of the place where they all converge with some gems, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So I cure that, and then I go in with another layer of black on all of the nails. This part usually takes me a little while. I'm really picky in particular about getting an even coat on my nails. That way the surface is nice and level to work with. I'm kind of a perfectionist, which is, it can be good in the art world, although sometimes I feel like I have a major problem with knowing when to stop and when something is okay. And if I fiddle more with it, I will actually ruin what I've done. So that's something that I'm working on. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I think in total I had like 3 hours of footage, maybe 3.5 hours from doing just this one design on the one hand. This is sped up. I think I have most of it at either 2 times or 3 times the speed, and then I cut out a bunch of things that were either off camera or just waiting time while things cured. So my design process is a little bit slower, but I think sometimes it's good to just take your time and really sit with the design, change things that you don't like. It's okay too to come back to a design. Like this was actually filmed over the course of 3 days, I believe. I spent one day doing the base coat and colors here, the basic nail art. I spent another day putting the charms and 3D work on. And then I spent a final day doing the bow on the pointer finger. And that was simply because I thought I had the right ribbon and I did not. So I had to go get some more. So now I'm going in with the second layer of feathers on the wings. Again, this is after I've already painted over that first layer with another coat of the black jelly polish. Cured that really well. And then I'm going in with the second layer of feathers. Now these ones, you don't want to extend all the way to the edge of the nail. If you notice, that first layer goes almost all the way to the edge. These ones you want to make slightly shorter so you can ensure that you still see the feathers on the first layer. And you also want to paint these feathers in between the gaps that the first layer of feathers made. So my first layer was only 4 feathers. This layer should be 5. However many feathers you want in your wing is up to you. I've seen people do like a much thicker wing with the feathers closer together. I've seen people do fewer feathers. It's really just up to like personal preference. My camera was not wanting to cooperate today, so sorry for all of the blurriness and the focus. I don't know if it was like the setting I had it on. I will definitely try to fix that for the next video because it's really just not tracking very well. I do like it though. I'm filming on my Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy S23. I had an older Galaxy that I was able to trade up for only, I think, $1 more a month. So it was too good of a deal to pass up. I think if you're getting into YouTube or wanting to do videos, having good filming equipment can go a long way, especially to show off art and things like that, because you want people to see, you know, all of your details and the hard work that you put in. So now I'm going in with that same white mud gel and I'm adding the veins to these feathers. So I usually put the veins in after I've already painted over a feather layer with a coat of the black polish, because if you notice here, it just tends to stick out a little bit more, which you actually want, because in real life, if you look at a feather, the vein is going to be the thickest part running down the middle. Now I'm just doing, I think, yet another coat of the black jelly polish to build up that color. I wanted the thumb and the ring finger that I'm going to put the swans on to be more of a dark color. So I'm adding, what, a third coat, I think, at this point of the black gel polish. I am not doing another coat of white at the edge of the tip here because I just wanted like a slight ombre. I don't want it to be a stark white. I just wanted a black to white ombre. One thing I try to do with my designs is make sure that every nail has some element of the other nails in it. So if I'm going to do a set where each nail is different, I still want to add consistency by making sure that, okay, if I have white accents on one nail, most of the other nails are going to have some sort of white in them and vice versa. It doesn't always work out like that, That's just a rule of thumb that I try to follow to make sure that my set feels cohesive and feels like it goes together. I tend to have a lot of good ideas that sound good in my head, and then when I actually sit down to paint them, they don't necessarily work out how I envision them. So I think one thing that I might start doing is like planning nails out beforehand and maybe sketching them, but we'll see. I have to find the time. Right now I am pretty busy with school. I teach high school, and so I'm kind of doing these videos on the side when I get home after work, when I'm done with lesson planning and grading and all of that. So I am looking forward to the summer when I can do a lot more nail content for you all, because I do really love doing this. Don't get me wrong, I love teaching too. It is one of my passions. I think it kind of has to be if you're going to be a teacher, especially in this economy, because we do not get paid a lot. It is unfortunate to say the least, but I do love doing it. But I also love art and I love being creative. So doing nails on the side is kind of my artistic release. It's my way of de-stressing and just kind of getting to be at peace with myself. Because after talking to kids all day at school, and parents too, sometimes I come home and I'm just exhausted and I just want to chill and paint. So here I'm adding, again, another layer of black before going in with my third and final layer of feathers. I had to wipe off some smog hairs. I love my cat, but he gets his hairs absolutely everywhere. He can just walk and a bunch of hairs will float off behind him. Yep, there's another one. So yeah, as I was saying, there's just times where I don't necessarily want to talk to anybody after being at a job that just kind of demands that you be on all the time and presenting all the time. So doing nails is just my happy space. I will say though, I do love hearing other people talk. So I've been having a ton of fun joining lives for people who are doing nails. There's a group of lovely, lovely ladies who have recently just been so incredibly supportive of me and my work. I will link all of them in the description below, but a lot of them do lives. So if you are into that, if you like watching people do sets and being able to interact with them live, I'll make sure again to link those people down below. They're a great group of women, just so supportive of each other, and I've felt so absolutely welcomed by this community, and I love hanging out with all of them in their lives, so definitely check them out. Now I'm going in with these 3D Swan nail molds. I got these off of AliExpress. I will make sure to link them below. And I think 3D molds are just such a fun way of adding an element of interest to your nail sets. They're not too difficult to use. So as you can see here, I'm just going in with some white polish, just some regular gel, and I'm painting in the details in a thin layer. So with these, you do want to work in layers. These ones that come curved are really nice because what you'll end up with at the end is a gem or a charm of sorts that is perfectly curved to the nail already. And you can customize the color. You can add texture like glitter if that's what you would like. So I started with an opaque white layer. I cured that. Now I'm going in with some white mixed just with a base gel because it doesn't need to be as opaque anymore once you get that first layer of color down. So now I'm going in with the white with the clear to make sure that everything I'm painting gets nice and cured. You don't want uncured gel in the middle of these charms. Otherwise, if, God forbid they break, the gel's gonna leak out. And also not to mention that then your charm will break. It'll be weaker if you have uncured gel in there. So this is what it looks like coming out of the mold. As you can see, there are some rough edges. So I just took a set of metal tweezers and started shaving off the little extra bits. Then I go in and I do the same process with another mold. I'm not going to show you the whole process for that other mold just because it is kind of the same thing. You just go in with your base color and then again go in with more layers until the mold is all the way filled. And then you just pop them out. Obviously cure between your layers, that way you make sure everything is nice and hardened. But aren't these so cute? I just love all the options you have to work with when it comes to 3D molds. It's a great way to add interest to your nail sets, and I will definitely be purchasing more of these in the future. So after I've scraped off the little rough edges, I just put those trims to the side. Now I'm cleaning off the tacky layer of the gel on the thumb and the ring finger. I didn't just want to put the swans on the nail, I wanted some more detail, so I pulled out my stamping plates and I pulled out this lace pattern plate here. I also got this one, I think off of, maybe not AliExpress. Actually, I think it was off of Temu. I will try to find the link and put it below. Might have also just been Amazon. But I am using the Born Pretty stamping polish as well, so I have the Born Pretty Black. I really like the stamping polish. I think it dries down really nicely. It works well with the stamping plates that I have. I haven't had a lot of luck, I will say, with their metallic stamping polishes. I've only tried them a couple times, but they were kind of hard to get the design to adhere to my stamping plate. So I'll have to give them another go, but I do like their solid colors. So I go in with the black on the ring and on the thumbnail. Please excuse the fact that I am photobombing myself and you can see my face in the stamping plate. Kind of embarrassing. That's okay though. I'm somebody who's really self-conscious, so getting a picture of me or a video of me kind of takes a lot. I don't love being on camera, even though I love taking pictures. One of my first art forms that I really fell in love with actually was photography. So I like being the one with the camera. I just don't love being on camera. Now I'm just cleaning off my stamping plates and my scraper with some acetone. 100% acetone works the best for this. Just use a little lint-free wipe and the acetone takes care of all the nail polish, and I think it's just so satisfying to get a super clean stamping plate. I mean, look at that shine. So once I've done the stamping, I'm gonna go in and do kind of like that ribbon design on the pinky finger. This was really popular, I would say, last year, but I love the look of it, so I wanted to try it with the black. I was also thinking black swan, ballet. I've got the lace, I've got the swans. What could go with that? Well, how about ribbons? You know, ballet shoes are tied together with ribbons, so I thought this would pull the set together nicely. I go in with a little round detail brush that's thicker, and the way to get really nice swoops like this is to press very lightly on the edge and then harder towards the middle. And you can be kind of uneven about this. You actually don't want an even coat of paint. You actually want some of the paint to be smeared away, so parts of the ribbon are a bit more sheer, and it makes it look like a nice sheer fabric, like an organza of some sort. Then to add just a bit of extra detail, I actually go in with this really skinny liner brush from, I think it's either Diami or Dami. And I add just some extra lines at the edges of each swoop. I just think it makes it look even more delicate. Sorry again for the camera. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's because I was filming with the portrait setting, but it keeps going in and out of focus. I don't love it. I will try to fix it for the next video because I know it's kind of annoying. So yeah, just going in here, defining the edges, adding those extra little frills. I think it just helps give the design a little bit more movement. This liner brush was expensive. I think it was maybe $20. I got it on sale for like $17. but it is the thinnest lining brush I've ever used, and it just makes the most beautiful lines. So definitely recommend. I also got this one off of Sweetie Nail Supply. I will link it down below. I have been to one ballet in my life. I went to the Nutcracker when I was little. My family went for Christmas 1 or 2 years. We had a family friend who was actually in the ballet. I grew up in Alaska, so this wasn't like a huge ballet production in New York or anything like that. We had a small production at the Performing Arts Center in Anchorage. I believe they held it every year as kind of a tradition, but we only went a couple times. It was always a really fun event though. It was a time where you would try to get dressed up nicely, go and enjoy the show and maybe some snacks with family. In the winter in Alaska, that's kind of one of the few things you have to do is inside entertainment or snow sports if you're into those. But I would really love to see more ballets. I just think it's such a beautiful art form, beautiful form of dancing. I had some friends in high school who were ballerinas, and people kind of joke about like, oh, ballet is such a girly dance type, it's easy to do, and it is definitely not. Ballet takes intense amounts of training and flexibility and athleticism, and I am just in awe when it comes to people who do ballet. So I would love to see the Black Swan, or not the Black Swan, Swan Lake done live someday. We'll see. So here I'm just going in with the leaf gel liner brush. That's just a little bit longer, and of course I'm off frame. It has to happen once a video, I swear. Maybe sometimes twice. I'm trying to get better at staying in frame, but I was just adding in some crisscross lines to look kind of like laced up slippers. Now I'm going in and affixing all of my handmade charm. So I lined up the swan and the frame and the other smaller swan just to see which nail I liked them on better. I think I went with the 2-part charm on the thumbnail just because it was a little bit bigger, and so I had some more space to work with. I just kind of test out how things look before I actually glue them on, because once you glue them on, there's kind of no going back. So to glue them on, I'm using my Macart rhinestone glue. I love this stuff. It comes in a tube, which makes it super easy to apply, as you can see here. I've never had a problem with rhinestones popping off if you use a decent amount of this and then seal in the edges. Usually I'm having to file off rhinestones if I'm doing my own nails. But you do want to make sure that the glue gets all the way to the edges and that you seal the edges. That's going to be the best way to make sure that your rhinestones never come off. So here I'm gluing on the swan. Then I'm gluing on the frame and the smaller baby swan. Again, I think it's really nice that these nail art molds that they're coming out with now have a curve to them. That way your charms will sit nice and flush to the nail. So while I'm gluing on charms, I kind of wanted to talk about something. I hope you all don't mind me rambling a little bit, but I wanted to talk about productivity, because now that I'm really getting into making longer content and I've started interacting more on YouTube, I've noticed a trend of just artistic people feeling bad about not being productive and apologizing if they aren't uploading. And I struggle with this a lot myself. It's something that I have a problem with. If I have a day off, I have to be doing something. It's either grading, lesson planning, or doing nails. If I stop and I don't know, say play video games with my friends, or if I'm just sitting there and vegging out, scrolling TikTok or Instagram or something and not doing it to edit my content or find new trends or ideas for content, there's part of me that feels bad. There's a part of me that just feels like I should be doing something that's more worth my time, more productive. I only have so many days in the week. I have so many weekends. And I really am trying to get myself out of that mindset, because I know it's not healthy for me. I struggled with depression and anxiety growing up. I, as young as the age of 12, was having trouble kind of managing my feelings of anxiety. And I didn't have a super rough childhood growing up. I was very blessed. I had, 2 mothers who loved me. and I had a sister. We had a roof over our heads. I wasn't going hungry. I was getting good grades in school, but I was my harshest critic and I always felt like I wasn't enough. So I've always struggled with anxiety. It's much better nowadays now that I've kind of learned to manage it and deal with it. But I still sometimes struggle with this idea of being productive and of having to be constantly doing something that is meaningful. And maybe that's why I'm a teacher, because I feel like I just need something in my life that feels fulfilling. But at times it can be detrimental to your health. And I just want to remind everybody out there, take time for yourself, take a break every once in a while, enjoy spending time with people you love. Enjoy your hobbies that some people might say aren't productive. I love playing video games. I have friends online that I've been playing with for a decade at this point. Unfortunately, I actually haven't really been talking to them as much since I started really getting into my nail content because I've just been making videos and designing sets. And I've even sold a couple sets so far, which has been really exciting. But I do need to remind myself sometimes to just take a break and do the things that I like and understand that not being productive sometimes can be productive in the sense that if I do take a break, I tend to come back more refreshed, more motivated to work on things. And in the long run, it's a lot healthier for me and for what I want to do to make this a sustainable hobby, a sustainable thing that I enjoy. So yeah, I hope I don't come off as too preachy with this. It's just something that I've been thinking about lately. Something that I've been seeing a lot of people talk about is feeling bad about not being productive. And I just wanted to remind anybody who's watching to take a break and that it's definitely okay to do so. And sometimes it's very much needed. So now I'm just overlaying everything with my favorite. This is the Thick Crazy gel from Jinbi Korea. It's a super glossy top coat that is a thick consistency, so it's great for going over embeds and all of your charms, but it still self-levels really nicely. So you get a really smooth, glossy finish that will protect all of your charm. I make sure that I get it over like these pearls and things like that because I find that if you don't encapsulate those pearls, the shine actually tends to wear off and then you're left with just like a white piece of plastic that doesn't look very nice. So I make sure to encapsulate all of my pearls. I encapsulate all of these charms here to make sure that they stay on the nail. And they do have a slight tacky layer because of the type of gel that I had molded them with. That just has a tacky layer in general. So adding a top coat like this will also get rid of that tacky layer. So as I'm finishing these up, I also just wanted to say, I love this little nail art community that I've joined and that has been created on my channel here. I've gotten tons of new followers lately. So if any of you are watching and you want to leave just a little bit about yourself in the comments, I would love to hear from everybody. I recently posted a short where I did show my face and kind of spoke a little bit, well, not spoke, I typed a description that shared a little bit about me. But I am 29. My birthday is coming up here in 3 months in June, and I'm hitting the big 3-0. I don't really know how I feel about that yet. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea of being 30, but it also scares me. My 20s are over. I know I have a lot ahead of me. It's just a little bit nerve-wracking to think about how old I've gotten, which I know is really not that old at all, so I don't want to complain. I don't mean to, make anybody feel bad. It's just for me, it's quite shocking to think about the fact that I'm going to be 30 soon. So now I'm going in with some real ribbon because I wanted to do a little real ribbon bow. I think this is the cutest idea. I've seen it floating around. It's probably pretty impractical. So if you did want to buy this set from me, I will include an option on Etsy for doing like a plastic bow instead, just because I know that, a lot of people when they put on press-ons, they want to wear them for a week, 2 weeks at a time. And real ribbon probably just isn't good for that because it's going to get wet. But if you were wanting to order this to wear for, an evening, for a special event, I think the real ribbon just looks so fun. So instead of tying a full bow, I'm actually going in and doing each of the components separately, sticking it on with glue, that same rhinestone glue, and making sure that it's really flat on the nail because I knew I had wanted to add a crystal, some sort of rhinestone in the middle of the bow. If I had tied the bow, I think, and then tried to glue it down, it just would have been really thick, especially with the ribbon that I'm using. And so I wanted to make sure it was flat as possible. So I do each part of the bow separately, the 2 loops and the 2 tails. I'm using my Macart flower lamp here. It's really nice. It's actually wireless, so you plug it in to charge and then you can unplug it, take it with you, turn it on and off. It is motion sensor as well if it is on. So you can just stick your hand or your nail under and it will turn on automatically. But it does also have a 10, 30, and 60-second timer. So that's the bow finished. And then I had a couple different thoughts on rhinestones. I had thought about using that bigger rounded one that's already in my tray, but I finally settled on just a heart. Add a little bit more of that rhinestone glue and then stick on the heart for curing. Sorry that these videos get a little bit rambly. I find that I go into them really wanting to talk about something and then getting interrupted because I also want to explain what I'm doing. Speaking of interruptions, this is my cat Smog. He really wanted to see what was going on. He was originally just sitting in my lap and then he said, no, I want on the table too. So I had to put him on the floor. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't getting any uncured gel on his fur or anything like that because that would be a nightmare. Now I'm going in off frame once again and blurry, so sorry about that. But I am just sealing in this charm with some top coat. I'm going around the whole bow and that gemstone with that crazy thick top coat. I didn't mention this before, but it is non-wipe, which is why I love it so much because it can seal your gems in and you don't have to worry about it being sticky, leaving a tacky layer, anything like that. So I'm just going around making sure that it is nice and stuck on there. Nothing's worse than losing a gem. And that's the set. I did go in and add a little bit of gray to those 3D nail charms. I just felt that they were lacking a little bit of depth, so I tried to get a bit of a gray wash in the grooves. It doesn't show up super well here. If I am going to sell a set, I would make sure it was done before I top coated. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think this might be one of my favorite sets that I've done. It took me a long time to figure everything out. Again, I had like 3 hours of footage, but overall, I'm really pleased with it. I hope you enjoyed watching me work on this. Again, sorry for the rambling. I get kind of rambly when filming these and trying to fill the empty space, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope maybe you learned something. Check out my socials in the description and the lovely ladies that I have linked there if you would like more nail content, and I will see you next time. Thank you.